Alright, fight fans, this is one of those dream matchups people have been debating for several months now. Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford. It's pretty much a clash of styles, power versus skill, size versus adaptability. And in this breakdown, I'm going to take you through how I see this fight playing out round by round, the adjustments each fighter has to make, and ultimately who I believe comes out on top. Now, the thing about this fight is, of course, these fighters have been talked about in a hypothetical matchup. For some people, a dream matchup. But in reality, boxing fans, I know for a fact, never really asked for this. For example, Canelo Alvarez is supposed to be fighting someone like David Benavidez, right? That's just something you cannot argue with. But as this fight has gotten closer, I think people are getting excited. At least I know I am. I cannot wait for this. Things like talking about the weight difference between Terrence Bud Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. In my opinion, with the way things have played out, those type of things and discrepancies have gone away. Honestly speaking, if you look at the way Bud looks right now, I mean, the guy is jacked. It's almost like this is his correct weight class. And another thing people talk about is the fact that, oh yeah, if Canelo Alvarez beats Terrence Crawford, he's not gonna get the credit. In my opinion, he should get the credit. These are two pound for pound fighters meeting in the ring, and whoever wins this fight deserves all the credit. But yes, I can definitely agree it's gonna be more of an achievement on Terrence Crawford's side than it is on Canelo's side.
For a person to go up 3 weight classes from 147 to 168 and to win, and become undisputed, wow. What can they say? They can't say nothing right now, but what can they say?
Well, then you're in like the greatest of all time discussion.
I'm already in them discussions. But
Yeah.
I'm saying, but what would they say though? 3-time undisputed champion and the smaller fighter that went up 3 weight divisions to conquer one of the baddest mans besides itself that's been doing it for probably longer than me.
Now, I'm also seeing a lot of people talk about how this fight is a 50-50 matchup. Some people are not giving Terrence Crawford a chance because, again, they are still talking about the size difference. But in my opinion, this fight is actually not going to be close one way or the other. But I'm going to talk about that later in the video. But before we go ahead, if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe to the channel if you like breakdowns like this. Let's get into it. Now, the first round of this fight, we're not really supposed to expect fireworks right away. Both fighters are notorious for using the opening rounds as fill-out sessions. Honestly speaking, Canelo usually comes out calm, controls the center of the ring, throws a couple of feints, level changes, and just tests the waters. He wants to feel his opponent's power, check the reactions, and gather data. Crawford does the same exact thing. These guys are really similar. He downloads information, looks at timing, studies footwork. So in round 1, both guys are going to be very patient. Because at the end of the day, no matter how you want to talk about this fight, this is literally the biggest fight in each fighter's career. Now, there's an argument to say yes, Canelo versus Mayweather was bigger, but I think this is way bigger than that, honestly speaking. And objectively speaking, this is the biggest boxing fight in at least a decade. That's just my opinion. Canelo usually finds his rhythm faster, okay? He's more cohesive when fighting different styles. He'll likely start targeting Crawford's body early, ripping those hooks to the ribs and the arms, all over the body. Anywhere he sees, even if it doesn't land flush, he's going to attack the body, okay? He'll likely start targeting the body early, ripping those hooks and ribs and arms. Doesn't matter if they're clean or blocked. The goal is to wear Crawford down and slow his legs. Now, by round 2 or even round 3, expect Canelo to start pressing forward harder, okay? He's going to use his size, strength, and that high guard to back Crawford up. Every shot from him, even if partially blocked, will look heavy to the judges. That's why I believe the early rounds are going to belong to Canelo. Canelo's blueprint here is clear: smart pressure, heavy shots, and body work. He's been in with every style: southpaws, slick movers, heavy punchers, you name it. Okay, since he was a teenager in Mexico, he's been in with pros and he's just highly experienced. He knows how to close the gap on smaller fighters. His plan is to smother Crawford's offense, walk him down, and keep ripping those body shots. You look at how Canelo fought guys like Danny Jacobs, Austin Trout, and even Charlo. He systematically breaks down every opponent. Okay, he breaks down technical boxers by making them uncomfortable and forcing them to fight at his pace. One key thing though is the fact that Canelo doesn't care if his shots land perfectly clean, and I think that's a very, very good skill set that this man has. He knows his power translates anywhere. The arms, the shoulders, the ribs, it all adds up. Okay, and Crawford, best believe Crawford is gonna feel those punches. Canelo has the power. Now, a lot of things that I've heard about Canelo, talking about how he slowed down, he doesn't go for the finish, this and that. Objectively speaking, Canelo has never been this amazing finisher, right? He always breaks down his opponents, and when he sees the opportunity, he goes for the kill. So I'm not really gonna pay too much attention to his boring ass fight with Skull. Now, in my opinion, if you read into that, I don't think you're seeing the bigger picture, because he knew he was gonna fight Crawford, right? There was no need to put in all the effort to finish someone like Skull, who was literally running away from him. But here's where things shift. Crawford is a slow starter as well, no doubt. He typically drops a few rounds while figuring his opponent out. Just look at the Sean Porter fight, Kell Brook fight, even the Spence fight, right? But once Crawford downloads your rhythm, he flips the switch immediately. Against Canelo, he will have to tie him up when Alvarez gets close. Crawford has a wrestling background, so he knows how to use leverage inside the clinch, and he's gonna take advantage of that. He knows how to escape the ropes as well and reset in the center of the ring. But here's a risk: the referee is gonna play a part. Okay, if it's not a ref that doesn't like clinching, Crawford can't rely too heavily on the tie-ups, and he'll get warned. Okay, he will get called out for that. So what's his adjustment if that happens? Once he reads Canelo's timing, Crawford will let his hands go. Crawford knows this is the biggest fight of his life. This is an opportunity for him to be one of the most iconic boxers of all time, right? He will literally be like the best boxer of this generation if he achieves this. So he's not gonna run away, he's not gonna not engage, he's not gonna be shy, but Crawford is going to let his hands go. This man will be looking for a finish, so don't expect any running or anything like that from him. Okay, look, Crawford, he's not gonna run. Like I said, he'll fight fire with fire. He'll start using combinations to push Canelo backwards, similar to what Bivol did. He's going to switch stances, jab from southpaw, throw sneaky uppercuts, and pick shots in between Canelo's wide counters. This is where Crawford starts making Canelo pay for the little mistakes that he will make. Keeps going longer, Canelo is gonna make some mistakes. He's not perfect. Now, by round 6, I expect Canelo to be ahead on the cards. His size, his presence, and his early pressure will give him control. But as the fight wears on, his gas tank will be tested. We've seen it before. Canelo tends to fade late. When his offense stalls, he starts dropping his guard, standing on the ropes and waiting for counters. That's when Crawford takes over.
Round big any goddamn way.
Right. Yeah. Now Canelo is the bigger guy, right? But
he ain't the bigger guy.
That's what they say. They say he's wider, he's got more mass. How are you feeling about Bud going in there taking on Canelo's power?
Shit, I don't give a fuck about that power. Well, how you beat power?
Speed.
You said what?
Speed.
And what else?
IQ.
Timing.
That's why you're the coach and I'm not.
I mean, you make some good. I mean, you got some good answers, but that power ain't gonna be able to sustain throughout the fight. Watch. And he usually slows down between 6 and 7. You slow down, that's a fucking wrap.
He's a master at giving you different looks, mixing orthodox and southpaw, changing rhythm, and punishing mistakes. If Canelo overshoots a hook, Crawford is going to counter sharp down the middle. If Canelo gets predictable with his body shots, Crawford will pivot out, tag him, and reset. But make no mistakes, this is not gonna be easy. It's not straightforward, okay? This is a complicated fight, and that's why I'm so excited about it. Crawford will have to bite down and throw combinations like he's never before. He literally has to approach this fight like this is the last fight he's ever going to engage in. He can't pot shot and hope to win. He can't go for the mindset where he's just gonna edge out a decision. He's probably gonna lose if he does that. He'll need to back Canelo up in exchanges, hit and move, and pile up points late. The danger, of course, is Canelo's timing, his mid combination, and landing a counter, right or left hook. That's the window where Crawford could get clipped. It's a risk, okay? But if he doesn't take that risk, I do not see any clear path for him winning this. So the question is, how does this fight end? In my eyes, Canelo wins the early battle, okay? Crawford wins the late war. I see Canelo banking the first 4 rounds with body work, pressure, and heavier shots. But by the second half, I really do see Crawford adjusting, starting to land clean combinations, and slowly takes momentum away. If Crawford survives the first half without taking too much damage, I see him closing strong and actually winning a decision. I know this might be crazy, but I actually see it playing that way. Now, something like round 8 or 4, maybe 7 rounds to 5, but he's going to have to come from behind and he's going to have to earn it the hard way. Now, of course, it's fair to say, man, Marshall, how can you talk about a game plan of coming in the later rounds and trying to win? It's not that Crawford should wait and let Canelo do anything at the beginning of the rounds. He's gonna be in the fight from the beginning, right? But the main thing he's going to be doing is downloading that data, staying defensively sound, and seeing what Crawford is bringing to the table. Best believe these guys have watched each other's tapes and every other thing they can do. Canelo has sparred with people like Boots Ennis, who is a similar style to Crawford, and rumor has it that that sparring session did not go too well, okay? But that doesn't matter, okay? Terence Crawford has, and his coach has said things like, you know, that doesn't matter. Boots Ennis is not Terence Crawford, which is true.
What is there to talk about? You fighting the best fighter in the world. You better be taking it serious. You know, that goes to show, you know, how serious he's taking me and how much he respects me. Because, you know, if I haven't fought anyone, if I was too small, if I was, you know, all these things that all the media said I was, then he wouldn't need these guys to help prepare him to fight me. He wouldn't, you know, need all the help that, you know, he's getting. But I'm happy that he's getting the help that he needs because, you know, after, you know, September 13th, there'll be no excuses.
But it's undeniable that they are similar, and that's definitely a good sparring partner to use to prepare for this fight. But if you look at Terence Crawford and the way he's bulked up for this fight, he's not bulked up in the unhealthy way. The man looks calm, he looks composed, he looks normal, right? Too composed, honestly speaking. His eyes are clear. The white in his eyes are really white. He looks healthy. It's a really, really healthy bulk. It's almost like he scammed Canelo and everybody else to make us think he doesn't belong in this weight class, even though he has said he does. But man, he looks like he's supposed to be in this weight class. That's why I'm not really taking the weight difference or the division weight class difference into account. But no matter what, Canelo is going to be the bigger man. He's used to this weight class. He's used to this weight. This is normal for him, and this is the first time for Crawford. So he's definitely going to be bigger than Crawford, but I don't think it's going to be that much. Now, that is, like I said, going to add to the strength of Canelo, and those shots are going to hurt real bad. And Crawford is going to have to be careful not to take too much damage, whereas he won't be able to come back and win this fight. But this is a tough fight, man, and I'm just going to go with my analysis, and my gut is telling me once again Terence Bud Crawford is going to tell everybody, I told you, I've always said it, Terence Bud Crawford is the #1 I told you fighter. He's always doubted, right? He's always counted out, and the man comes out on top. I'm not dismissing Canelo. I'm not. Canelo is a great fighter, an iconic fighter, okay? A generational fighter. And if he wins this fight, I'm not going to be surprised. I don't think anybody's going to be surprised if Canelo wins this fight. I think people are going to be surprised if Crawford wins this fight. Even if I'm picking Crawford to win, I'm still going to be a little bit surprised, if that makes sense. But I just feel like Crawford is going to take it. Now, Crawford is older than Canelo, but when you watch their fights and their career and everything, in fight age, I think Canelo is older. He's taken more damage. He's been in more wars. Crawford, on the other hand, has been in more one-sided fights. Okay, so do with that what you will. But yeah, that's my prediction for this fight, man. It's a tough fight. All right, both guys will have their moments. Both will land big shots, and the momentum will swing back and forth. But my final prediction, Terence Crawford wins this fight by a late decision, using his adaptability, stamina, and sharpness to outwork Canelo down the stretch. And that's my breakdown, guys. If you want to see a deep dive breakdown for this fight, go ahead and click on this video here. I talk about all their best fights, their worst fights, their skill sets, their fight styles, and everything. And then you can add that to this video and make your prediction. Let me know down in the comments, who do you have in this mega fight? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you want more in-depth fight analysis. Until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later.